Hi there, welcome to Unscripted with me, Grace. I want to start the show with a quote that I found. It says, and I quote, "If your path is more difficult, it's because your calling is higher." I believe today's guest completely exemplifies this quote. Her story is powerful, it is inspirational, it is beautiful. It may break your heart a bit, but I promise you it will end very, very well. Now let's take a break. I want you to go first. All your hands, I want you to be glowing like me, thanks to Cocoa Butter by Nivea. Then come back and let's meet our guest. Let's do that. Let's begin. Hi there, welcome to Unscripted with me, Grace. Like I said before, we have an amazing show in store for you with this beautiful, gorgeous woman, Leah. Have you been told how beautiful you are? Like you're just striking and stunning. You enter the room and the mood changes.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Mungu akubariki.
What do we say? It's
What do we
Grace.
say? It's Grace.
Yes, it is.
So I heard your story and I couldn't be more excited or honored to have you here to share it. You could be speaking to someone at home who needs to hear this. It's very, very empowering. You went through quite a bit in your childhood. So let's go back there. Where did you grow up? Where was home? And how was your childhood like?
First, I'm Leah Kiela.
Yes.
I am a second born in a family of three. We are three sisters.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Mombasa, so for the better part of my life.
Anywhere too?
Kabisa, 100%.
Oh, no wonder.
Yeah. I don't have the accent, unfortunately. So for the better part of my life, I grew up in Mombasa. My dad used to work for KPA. He was an accountant there. Right. My mom, a primary school teacher. So life was just normal, you know, like the way you just live with your parents, nothing much,
Okay.
So,
do you have any fond memories or any key memories from when you were a child? Before things changed?
Okay, so what I remember was my dad was a bit of a drunk. So, like on Sundays, he will drop us to church with my mother, and then he would come pick us later. So my mother would not tolerate staying in the bar or that. So my dad would take us to the bar.
Okay.
Leave us at a corner.
After church?
Yes, after church, leave us at a corner. We'd take fries with my sisters, and he would sit on the other corner, have beer with his friends, have nyama choma. Then after that, I would go back home.
Where's mom at this time?
Home. That was basically it. I was really young, so I don't have many memories, but life was really good because my dad had a good job. We used to live in the KPA houses.
I see.
So life was good. We went to private school then. That was in the early 90s.
Which is good.
Yeah. So around 1995. Yeah, it was a decent upbringing until 1995.
So what happened then?
So that's when I lost my dad.
Okay, what happened to him?
He was sick. So I just remember him being at home for a very long time. He was just staying in bed. My mother would go nurse him. So we really couldn't comprehend exactly what was happening. Okay. Yeah, but for us, as long as he's there, my mom is there. I mean, we are kids. Everything is okay.
How old were you?
I was 6. Then 95.
So you can hardly understand if you're sick, what the issue is.
No, it was just too much to comprehend. So I remember we went to school, just a normal day, and during lunch break, our house girl came for us from school. She was like, your dad has passed on. Oh, no. Even at that time, you don't know what death is. You don't know. You know, your memory is still very young. You don't know what dying means. You know, so we went.
But that's the first time you heard it.
Yes, that's the first time I had someone dying, what it meant to die. So we went home and the burial started. Still, even the process of burial, it's just very vague in my mind. I can't really remember exactly what was going through.
You were the second. How old was the first one?
8. She was 8.
So you were all young.
Yeah, 8, 6, 4.
Did you ever talk to mom and ask her what was wrong with dad? Why did he die? Did you have a conversation? Did mom explain?
That time, no. Well, maybe she did, but I can't remember. So after that, we just went for the burial, came back home. So now when we came back, that's when now life changed.
What happened?
We could no longer afford that house. Because remember, my mom is a primary school teacher, so we couldn't afford that house anymore. So we moved. That house was like a 3-bedroom.
So you said KPA? That's
Yes,
where he
he
went?
was working
so
for KPA.
Because he passed on, the family couldn't continue staying there?
Yes, because there was no one now working for KPA.
Even for a period? Like there's no grace period?
In fact, we came back from Shags and we had to move that same day. Immediately.
Life changed like that?
Immediately. So we went now to, in Mombasa, there are those Swahili houses where you share the washroom, you share the bathroom, you know. And for us still, we could not understand what's happening. So now life changed for the first time. And what I think I'm grateful for that period was how my mother was.
What do you mean? What did she do?
She was the kind of person that would instill very important values to us. She would be very, how do I put this? She would be like, the most important thing in life is prayer.
Oh, good.
At the end of the day, you're not entitled to anything.
That's true.
The only thing you're entitled to is what you ask from God, but not what I give you. So she created a habit that even when we asked for the simplest things, like if I wanted a pencil, she'll be like, go tell God.
Oh, wow.
Pray about it.
Oh,
so I'll be like, okay, God, I need a pencil. Please give Mom money to buy me a pencil. So I'd go tell Mom. By then I prayed and I told God to give you money. She's like, yeah, God told me, so I'll buy you a pencil.
Look at that.
So
That's teaching you faith very early.
Yes.
That's
so
good.
We grew up knowing that you first have to ask God.
Amen.
And my mom was very open. She would like tell us, by the way, guys, this is my pay slip. Wow. She used to earn 30,000.
Okay.
This is the much I have.
Yeah.
So, but when you tell God, He will give me more than
this.
And there's nothing that you'll ever need that I won't give you, as long as it's a need.
Make me cry, like that's, gosh.
Yeah, so, and she also taught us, just
Beautiful.
whatever you have to work for it. Never accept free money.
Yeah.
Never accept something that you've not worked with your hands. It was detailed till like on Sunday when you have offering, she would make us work for that money. So during the week, she would make us maybe brush shoes, and then now we get money for Sunday school. Like now this is the money that you've worked for.
Those are powerful lessons.
Wow, thank you.
That I think that help any person over time, and you can pass on to your children. Exactly. I love the one that God is the ultimate provider.
Yes.
Whether you have a mother, a father, a husband, or whatever figure, ultimately, it's God who provides. And then, so I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And then when you shared your story with me earlier, in the midst of those beautiful lessons through a hard time from a very strong mother, then she got unwell, or she got sick.
Yeah.
And she didn't make it. Tell us about that journey and what happened.
So when I was after primary, I went to high school. I was called to Kieni Girls High School in Embu. Okay. In Form 2, I remember we were having the show period where kids would go for showground. Okay. So my mom called us for a meeting.
Oh, her children now?
Yeah,
your siblings.
My siblings and I. So she sat us down and told us, now you need to understand what happened to your father. That time, the elder sister was in Form 4, I was in Form 2, the younger Form 1. Okay. So she felt that period we would understand. Yeah. So she told us, when you were young, your dad died of HIV and AIDS.
Did you know what it was at this point?
Yes, at this point we knew. And that time the stigma was too much. Like if you get it, it's like a death sentence. Yeah. So I didn't care if my dad got it. I mean, he's already gone. Yeah. So the first question was, what about you? Are you okay? And she's like, no, me, I'm fine. I just wanted to let you guys know. And at that point, there was like a flashback. And then we remembered, by the way, when we were young, the way kids leave school and you come home during the day, my dad would leave work, come in the middle of the day with young girls, like my age now. Oh, no. And we would be like, Dad, who's that? Who ni nani? And we're like, ni auntie.
So in front of the kids, they didn't care to take them somewhere else?
No.
Right in your house?
In the house, and then they'll go to the bedroom with auntie. So at that point when now my mom was telling us how my father was unfaithful and all that, it now clicked that,
It
oh, by
triggered
the
those
way,
memories.
this is what happened. So fast forward, when I was in Form 3, my mom started now getting unwell. She would complain of chest pains, go to hospital now and then. I remember and then chest pains and back pain. Okay. So there was a time she would even tell us, like, we step on her back because of the pain she was feeling.
Yeah.
And for us, it was very light. I mean, we didn't think it's something very serious. And she became very careful because she was the one who was doing our eyebrows. Like, she would cut and trim our eyebrows in high school.
Wow.
So she became...
Such an attentive mom, even doing your eyebrows in high school.
Yes, so she became very particular on not sharing stuff with her.
With you.
So we would be like, Mom, please give us your razor. She's like, no, go buy, take money, go buy your own razor.
So she knew all along, but she didn't tell you guys.
Yes, she knew all along, but she didn't tell us. So now in Form 4, we had closed for the August holidays. So for the Form 4s, we closed for 1 week because we needed to go back to school to prepare for the exam. So during that period, she was very unwell.
Sickly, yeah.
She would be in and out of hospital complaining of chest.
And during that time, none of you wondered or tried to figure out what's wrong with mom, that she's constantly sick?
We would ask her, and then she's like, unajua nazeeka, and stuff like that. Like, she would really brush it off.
Find a reason. Okay.
Yeah, and my mom was the kind of person who really wanted to protect us so much from outside, from any negativity. So I went home for a week, and then I went back to high school. So when I went back to school, now I was called by the principal and told that I need to go home and I needed to see my mother. Oh. So she was really unwell and I needed to see her.
And are you in the middle of exams?
We had just started.
You just started? Yeah,
so we were starting with the oral. I was doing German, so we were starting with German orals, and then just step by step the exam period. So I remember I went home and I was told that you first need to go for counseling before you see your mother.
Oh no.
And I went for counseling and I'm like, is it that serious? I mean,
you didn't expect anything?
No, I'm like, why are these people exaggerating? I mean, has it gotten to a level of being cancelled before seeing my mother? So anyway, I went for counseling. After that, she was in Aga Khan, Mombasa. So I went and...
How was that moment? Were you allowed to see her?
Yeah, so I entered her room and she had... Her hair was... All of it had been shaved. And she had machines attached to her. Yes, attached to her head. And
it's okay. It's okay.
It was the most painful moment in my life because this is a best friend, someone you shared everything with. And seeing her in that state, she was on life support. She couldn't breathe on her own. She was in a coma. It was the most painful. I can't even explain the pain.
Yeah.
But I felt my dreams shattered at that point. Like, I felt really hopeless. So I went to her and she could hear but could not respond because she was in a coma. So I went to her and told her, Mom, remember all the promises you made to us. Remember you told me that you will walk me down the aisle on my wedding day. You can't go. And
I'm sorry. It's okay.
I told her, do you still remember that you'll walk me down the aisle? Just promise me you'll walk me down the aisle.
Yeah.
she was sign language teacher, so she did this.
What does that mean?
This means yes in sign language. So at least when she did this,
She could hear you.
yeah, she could. So at least when she said yes, I was a bit
And she still gave you the answer you wanted to hear as her
Yeah.
daughter.
So in my mind, I'm like, okay, she's promised me that she's going to be okay, so she's going to be fine. I mean, she's promised that she'll walk me down the aisle, so it's okay. I mean, she will do it. So I trusted her. But
That
again,
gave you some hope when she
yeah,
did
it
that.
gave me some hope. And so I even left the hospital a bit confident, knowing that she'll make it, she'll make through. So I went back to school, and I did my exam. So the day I finished my orals, that day I was just feeling there's just something that is not adding up. My class teacher is literally ignoring me, because I would really tell her I need to speak to my sister.
This is a day later?
No,
Or the
like a
same
week
day?
later.
A week later.
When I went back to school.
Okay.
So that day I was doing my exams, I just felt there's something they're hiding
was
from
off.
me. Something was off. So I kept telling my class teacher, I need to talk to my sister, because she was the only one I could communicate to from home. I'm like, please give me your phone. I talked to my sister. She was like, no, just finish the exam first, and then we'll talk to her later.
Were you able to do the exam? Were you
Yes.
able to focus? Okay.
Yes, I did the exam. And later, now in the evening, the principal again called me. And then she told me, now, Leah, you need to go home. Your mother has passed on.
So she told you?
Yes. I just remember screaming. And I just couldn't believe that she promised.
That she'd be there.
And in my mind, I'm like, you just decided to go after promising.
That's not it.
So anyway, I went to class, took my books, and through the whole journey from Embu to Mombasa, I was like, God, no. How? Like, I could not understand. My mother was the person that could never go against her word. So if she promised, why? Why did she? I felt really betrayed.
I'm sorry.
So I went home, and I thought that maybe the heartache would probably end, but it got worse and worse.
I think we should take a break.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's take a minute. That's heavy.
Yeah.
But what's making me smile in the inside is I know you're in a better place now, right?
Yeah.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. It's quite an emotional show, but like I said, it's going to end well, I promise you. So Lai, you were telling us, so you had to leave school?
Yes.
And go and head home back to Mombasa.
Yes.
How was it when you arrived home? How were your siblings? What is the situation?
My younger sister was really affected. She was the most affected.
How old was she at that time?
She was 16.
Okay.
Then the elder one, 20.
So 20, 18, 16.
Yes.
Look at that.
2 years apart. So there were so many people coming at home, and you see at that point you feel a lot of warmth because you're with people.
I know.
So the hospital bill was very high. It was like 800,000, and plus the funeral cost. Yeah.
Yes.
So it brought a lot of mvutano because my relatives felt that my mom should be buried in Nyeri, where my dad comes from.
I see.
But we on the other side felt that
should she be buried?
She'll be buried in Mombasa at the cemetery because we are rushing against time. I need to go back to school, do my exams. And then going to Nyeri, the expense is very high.
Costly.
Yeah, and we still have the hospital bill. Burying her in Mombasa, where most of our friends are there, to make it cheaper and effective.
Okay.
So my relatives were like, since you've decided that you were not burying the body in Nyeri, that's it.
What does that mean?
So they distanced themselves.
No assistance, nothing?
Nothing.
They didn't want to be involved?
Not even being involved. They didn't come for the burial. It was that bad.
Who was at the burial?
Just friends and her school where she was teaching and the
So in
church.
terms of family, just the three of you?
Family was now the three of us and people from my mom's
From
side.
your mom's side.
Yeah, people from my dad's side didn't show up totally. They didn't contribute. They didn't show up. And that was the last time I saw, during
Any of
that
them?
period, any of them.
Wow.
That was in 2008. So I finished, the burial ended up, and after the burial we went home.
Yeah.
And that evening, it was just my sisters and I in the house. So we
No
looked,
adult supervision?
nothing. It was just us.
You have no idea where you'll get food from?
Nothing. So we were like, where do we go from here? Like, what do we do? My sister, the elder one, was in first year campus.
Oh no. She had just started campus?
Yes, she just
And
started.
you're finishing high school?
Yes, and the younger one is in Form 3. So since no one showed up,
Yeah.
now the church took us in.
So you went from mom's side, there was no
No
support?
one, nothing.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so now the church came in and the pastor and her husband were kind enough.
Yeah.
So they took us in. We went and stayed at their home. So to date, we don't even know what happened to some of our property, like where my mom's clothes went to, things of the home.
Because you just moved?
We just
to
moved with
the-
our clothes and the TV. That's the only thing we moved with.
And left the rest there?
Everything else was left there. So I went back to school, and Grace, it was the hardest thing to do. Because you're there, you have emotions running, you have all these things, and people expect you to be okay. Teachers expect you to be normal. It's like you're not allowed even to cry, you're not allowed to vent, you're not allowed. No one sat me down and told me, now, we understand where you are. We'll take you through counseling slowly because you really need this.
That's true.
So I was left
didn't
to
happen.
to figure out how I'll move on. So the thing that really pulled me through is, remember I talked of how my mom taught us how to pray
Yes.
and to write.
Yes.
So what pulled me through was prayer. The only person I could confide in was God.
Amen.
And I would sit down and write my prayers.
Hence this book.
Yes, hence my book.
Tell us about it.
This book is how many years old?
I can't believe you still. So clearly when you left the house, this is one thing you didn't leave.
Yes, I have others, but this was at that particular moment when
It's
I
when you
had
started.
when I started.
Okay.
So this book is from 2008.
Wow.
It has prayers from October 2008 up until 2009, beginning of 2009.
Wow.
So if you allow me, I just want to read
Yes,
a
please.
small
Highlight for
a
us.
small part of the prayer that I made.
Okay. And you can tell us why you're sharing that one in particular. Or maybe we'll know
Okay.
after you share
Yes.
it. Okay, go ahead.
So this prayer was wrote on October 14th, 2008 at 7:30 p.m.
Oh, wow.
I even had specific time.
Yeah.
So the prayer is, Dear Lord, I thank you for today. I thank you for your love and mercies, for your protection. Lord, you are a good God, and I thank you for you are just God. Father, your promises are yes and amen and amen. I'm your child, and you, oh God, is my daddy and mommy. Father, you have a reason why my mom passed on when it was 26 days to my KCAC. I thank you, God, because in your word it says that you won't test us beyond our strength.
Amen.
Lord, you knew that I could handle this. That is why you allowed me to go through this. Father, you had a reason, and I know it was not to shame me. Dad, I have seen your hand in my life this far, and I won't trade you for anything. Lord, you say in your word that all things work together for good to those who love you, to those called according to your purpose, and to those called by you. So, Lord, I believe that you had a purpose that you, mighty Jesus, may be glorified through me, so that one day I may be a blessing to somebody's life.
And 10 years later, look at you now.
10 years later, I look back to the many prayers I prayed, and there is a part that I wrote, and I was saying the way I feel bad that, let me just read it. I wrote, my mom taught me to write my prayers, and I'll also teach my children to do the same.
Bless.
Yeah.
Amen.
So it was a good place to vent to.
And that is such powerful faith at such a young age.
Yes.
That's what definitely saw you through that, I can
Yeah.
imagine.
It's just God, nothing,
Well done.
nothing else. I used to say we were not rich, but the only inheritance my mother left us was the word of God.
Amen.
And I decided
that's
I will,
everything.
that is everything, and I will guard it with every breath that I have.
During that journey, though, when was your deepest or lowest moment?
Later on, now after high school, I finished high school, now home. The results came out. I got a B plane,
That's good.
yes, of 64 points.
Good job.
But that year they were admitting through the government program B of 60, I think 66, because I missed with 1 point. So
Don't tell me that triggered.
I'm
depression.
like, God, like
Oh, no.
how? And then at that time, some relatives, now from my mom's side,
Yeah.
now they were like, Leah, why did you fail?
Oh, wow.
I'm like, gosh, are you even serious? Really?
Wow.
And they were like, you need to repeat, you need to. I'm like, no, I'm not repeating. So who will see you through school? I mean, you'll have to go through the parallel program. Who will see you through school? I'm like, it's God. I mean,
Amen.
God has brought me this far. He will see me through school.
That's
So
very insensitive of them.
yes, I mean, you see, I remember I told you that time people expect you to be grown.
So what did that lead to for you?
I remember at one point there was this relative I used to stay with.
Okay.
Like I would leave the pastor's house, go
Yeah.
visit this particular relative.
All right.
So one time I'm at her place, and during lunch hour I would go to church, cry there, my moments, have my low moments there, then go back home. So one time she comes home and like, oh, why do you like going to church? Is there a man you're seeing there?
Wow.
And I'm like, really? So I felt all these things, like, God, it's you I'm going to seek, and somebody else just thinks I'm doing something else.
Yeah.
So one time I left church,
Yeah.
passed by the chemist, bought 15 Piritons.
15 Piritons.
Yes, 15.
Uh-huh.
Went home. It was Wednesday afternoon, I won't forget. Sat down, took them,
All of them.
all of them.
One go.
Yes, I felt nothing, like, so I decided to sleep. I slept on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I woke up on Friday.
You slept for 3 days.
Yes,
And you're living with someone in that house?
yes.
No one tried to wake you up, check if you're
And
alive?
that's the thing I still couldn't understand. Like, I sleep on a Wednesday. I wake up on Friday. I have the same clothes on.
No
Like,
one bothered to check.
no one bothered to even, tap me, are you okay? So when I woke up that Friday, I decided, by the way, this life, I'm by my own. And I'll do what it takes to prove all these people wrong.
But you'll make it out.
I'll make it out.
Look at that.
I just decided. And I called the pastor and I told her just to allow me to go back to her place, because this environment
It's
I
not
can no
working for
longer
you.
deal. So I went back to the pastor's house.
Look at that. You thought you'd taken your life away, and that's when God turned things around for you and told you,
Yes.
your life begins now.
Yes.
Welcome back to the show. Thank you for staying with us. And I forgot to mention, very special thanks to our beautiful location, Radisson, here in Arboretum. Leah, before the break, you were telling us about your very low moment where you tried to take your life, but God is faithful. You're still here today.
Yes, I am.
How did your life change after that?
So after that, I decided that moving forward, I need to be accountable for my life.
How were you? Okay, so you're more intentional.
Yes, I
Okay.
decided to be more intentional.
Okay.
And I decided that I will go through school
Good. How?
no
How
matter what, whether somebody is paying it for me or not.
Okay.
I must go through school. I must get that degree.
Well done.
So I applied for KU
Okay.
because my sister was also in KU.
Okay.
However, at that point, the pastor felt that I should not go to Nairobi because she felt maybe I'll be exposed. I mean, being in Mombasa, the way Mombasa life is
Very
like
slow.
together, slow. So now, after I joined, it was very clear in my mind that now I need, from the church paying the first installment,
Yeah.
moving forward, I need to know how I'll raise that money.
Became an adult, you're already thinking, what is the
Yes.
plan?
What is the plan?
What did you do?
So one time I took my phone and I went through, I Googled Minister for Education. I looked for the office location and I saw it. So I didn't even know Nairobi that time. So I woke up Monday morning, dressed very well, you know, like first impression.
Yeah.
And I walked to his office very confidently. And the PA was like, do you have an appointment? I'm like, yes, I have an appointment. For what time? 11.
Oh, well done.
I was just like this, I pray he's in. So luckily he was in.
Okay.
So when I
How did it
went
go?
to his office, I'm like, I'm so sorry, I don't have an appointment. I just need school fees. Wow. So he was like, okay, which university do you go to? I'm like, KU. So he took his phone, called the vice chancellor for KU, and the vice chancellor told him, let her come to my office. So I went, met her, and this is a person you meet on matriculation when you're joining university and on graduation.
Yeah.
So I sat in her office and she was like, okay, now what we'll do, the school will be giving you 30,000. So now, when I was graduating from high school, there was this, she was, I think, former minister for tourism, Honorable Cecily Mbarire.
Okay.
So I got her number when we were graduating from high school.
Yeah.
Again, the go-getter in me.
I can see.
So I got her number and I called her.
Yeah.
And she was kind enough to meet me.
All right.
So when we met, I'm like, how can you help me get school fees? And she's like, now since you're not from my constituency,
What did she do?
what I can do, I can help you apply for help. And normally, help would give someone like 30,000, 20,000. Okay. So she made sure I get the maximum, which was 60,000.
What did you do for work?
So first, my sister used to make mabuyu and ground nuts. So she would give
Mombasa
me Mombasa kabisa mabuyu ya inaitwa iliki, that one. So she would make and give me to go sell in class.
I see. So
I remember one time I took my mabuyu, confidently selling them in class, and this girl asked me, when you don't have parents, why are you selling things in class? Hey, I went back and told my sister, by there, this business, this one I can't. Let me just go to a place where no one knows me. I think I'll thrive better. So now I started looking for opportunities. When in first year, I contested for Miss KU.
I hope you won.
I failed badly.
Cheating, only cheat.
Didn't even make it.
Have you seen yourself?
Didn't even make it to top 20. I mean,
wow.
I was eliminated first round anyway.
And
but
what did you hope to achieve? Yeah.
But now, out of that, it opened so many doors because of exposure. With time,
You grew.
I progressed. I mean, I went to the next level in hustling, because there was a time even I washed people's clothes in Nyayo Estate. I started doing now ushering for now corporates.
Got it.
And that time you'd get like, it would run maybe Friday, Saturday. So a day you'd earn like 5,000. So you see, a whole weekend you have 10,000.
Imagine.
10,000 a month you have 40.
You have what you need, yeah.
Exactly.
I'd like you to highlight for people watching at home, especially the young people, lessons from that, just work ethic and working hard that you can pinpoint out to them.
I think the most important thing is consistency and not looking at what the other person is doing.
Yep.
We all have different journeys. You have your journey.
When I look at your book, your prayer book, and you said you have many others at home. When you look back now, Leah, and I'm sure as you're reading, there are breakthroughs and testimonies, like you can't believe you've come from that to where you are now. Tell us about the moments and the highlights from that. How it all makes you feel.
Well, when at times I just sit down and open the many prayer books that I have, and I look back and I'm like, isn't God faithful? So looking back, I'm so grateful to God. Yes, there are those many low moments that to date I sit down and I'm like, oh, I wish Mom was here. But it's no longer from
A place of pain.
a place of pain. It's from a place of thank you, Lord.
Tell us where Leah is now. How is your life now?
I forgave the relative that I had stayed with when I tried to commit suicide.
Good.
Even when I was during that time for ratio and all that, I went to my grandmother, to my dad's side, and I told them, this is the man I want to marry. But I had to put my stand on certain things.
Okay.
Like, I made it clear that my sister would be the one to walk me down the aisle.
Yeah, I was going to ask, so who walked you down the aisle? It was your sister?
My sister, my
Why your
other
sister?
Because I felt my sister played the role of a mother so much.
But let's go back to meeting your husband.
Oh, in fact, when I was somewhere about almost finishing high school, I remember in one of my many prayer books, I wrote that I would want a man who is, I'm not being tribal, but I want a Kamba and a Taita, or a Taita. And God is amazing. He gave me both.
Oh,
so
he's
my
mixed.
husband is half Kamba, half Taita.
Oh, look at
So,
that. But what did you love most about him, other than the tribe part?
the fact that he's born again.
Okay.
Funny thing, we were in the same primary school with him.
Is that so?
Imagine, but we never
interacted.
So we met again in campus,
I see.
in KU.
Okay.
So we were just friends.
Married how long now?
5 years this
5
year.
years.
Yeah.
2 children.
2 children, beautiful
You
girls.
look nothing like you have 2 children. You'd give us tips on the side. If you want,
yes,
you can tweet me, I'll share maybe.
Yeah.
I thank you and I thank God for seeing him glorified through you. It's this beautiful story of from beauty. He makes beauty for ashes.
Very true.
So no matter where you are in life, whatever situation you may be in, I think Claire's example, that if you hold on to God, He will get you through it and bring you on the other side, empowered, restored, and for a reason. I think I like what you said, and you didn't even know that He will use your story to help others. What do you do now?
I do motivational speaking, especially to high schoolers and after high school, especially girls. And something that I also do, I run a business.
Okay.
I'm a kids shoepreneur. I sell
wow.
kids shoes.
I love it. We want to celebrate you.
Thank you.
You said you used to sell Nivea.
Yes.
So now I want to give
Finally.
you back some Nivea.
Wow.
To take home, share with the kids. I don't know if you use this one, the cocoa butter. I don't know if you've tried it.
No, I've never tried it.
Do you have dry skin? Do you have combi skin?
I have normal skin.
Yeah, I mean, she's gorgeous. I'm asking silly questions. I'm the one with dry skin. But I think you'll still enjoy it.
Okay, thank you.
You have the lotion, you have the cocoa butter.
Oh, wow.
And then there's like a little one. I don't know if the kids will share or you'll have it in your handbag or somewhere in the house.
Thank you.
So this is for you.
Thank
Just
you,
to
Nivea.
say, yes, Nivea, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Helping us celebrate women like yourself.
Wow,
Just
thank
being a
you.
positive impact in society. It's what we need. And hearing such stories to encourage other women to also just step up and know that they too can also do it. Whoever you are, whatever situation you're in, just know you can get out of that pit and you too can make a difference in your life and other people's life. Because when you make a difference in your life and shine your light, you inspire others and that becomes a ripple effect. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to our beautiful location as always, Radisson Blue here in Arboretum for hosting us. Until next week, goodbye and God bless.